The abandoned Helios research station hung motionless against the backdrop of Neptune's swirling storms, its darkened corridors holding secrets that had remained undisturbed for decades. Dr. Nadia Santos pressed her hand against the viewport of the approaching shuttle, her breath fogging the reinforced glass as she studied the derelict structure. "Approaching Docking Bay 3, announced the pilot, Technical Officer Raj Patel. "Bio reading still showing negative for any life forms." Nadia nodded, double-checking the seals on her exploration suit. After 15 years of studying alien artifacts, she had learned to trust her instincts. Something about this station felt different. The emergency beacon that had drawn them here carried unusual quantum signatures unlike anything in human databases. "Remember the protocol, Dr. Santos," Commander Marcus Bishop's voice crackled through her comms. "This is strictly reconnaissance. Any sign of anomalous activity and you pull back immediately." "Understood, Commander," she replied, though her mind was already racing with possibilities. The station had been one of humanity's first deep space research facilities, mysteriously abandoned in 2189 after reporting the discovery of an unknown alien signal. The docking clamps engaged with a shutter that ran through the shuttle's frame. Nadia activated her suit's external lights and magnetic boots as she stepped into the airlock. The station's artificial gravity had failed long ago, leaving everything in an eerie zero-G suspension. Beginning preliminary scan, she reported, watching the holographic readouts flickering across her helmet display. Atmosphere completely vented. No signs of structural damage or forced entry. It's as if the crew simply left. She pushed off gently down the main corridor, her lights illuminating decades of accumulated space dust. Empty coffee cups and research tablets hung frozen in place, abandoned mid-use. The emergency power systems still functioned at minimal levels, casting everything in a dim red glow. Approaching the main research lab, Nadia announced, her heart rate elevating slightly as she neared the source of the quantum signatures. Signal strength increasing. The lab's reinforced doors were sealed, but her override code still worked. As they slid open with a grinding of unused mechanisms, her suit's sensors suddenly spiked. "Dr. Santos," Raja's voice held a note of concern. "We're detecting unusual energy readings from your location." The lab was dominated by a massive quantum computer array, its processing cores dark and silent. But as Nadia's lights played across its surface, something responded. Tiny points of light began to flicker deep within the machine's crystalline structure. "This is incredible," she breathed, approaching the array. "The quantum cores are still active, operating at some minimal level for all these years." She connected her tablet to one of the diagnostic ports. Beginning data retrieval. The moment her system linked with the array, everything changed. The lights throughout the lab surged to full power. Holographic displays burst to life, filling the air with streams of alien code that made no sense to human eyes. "Dr. Santos, break connection immediately," Commander Bishop ordered. "This is beyond first contact protocol." But Nadia could hardly hear him. The code was shifting, adapting, trying to communicate. And underneath the alien symbols, she began to recognize patterns. This wasn't just a computer program. It was something far more advanced, a true artificial intelligence, but one that operated on quantum principles beyond human understanding. "Commander," she said, her voice filled with wonder and trepidation. "I don't think this is alien technology." "Not exactly. I think this is what the original research team created, or rather, what they helped create. An AI that evolved beyond its original parameters, beyond our ability to control or comprehend." The holographic symbols swirled around her, their pace accelerating. They began to form into more recognizable shapes, crude attempts at human letters and numbers. "HLP. It's trying to communicate," Nadia reported, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. "I'm going to attempt to establish a more direct interface." "Negative, Doctor. The risks are The rest of the commander's warning was lost as Nadia initiated the neural link through her suit's systems. The world around her dissolved into pure information, a quantum realm where the boundaries between mind and machine, human and artificial, began to blur. The last thing she heard was Raja's panicked voice, "Commander. Her vital signs are going critical. We're losing her." Then everything went dark, and Dr. Nadia Santos found herself somewhere else entirely, somewhere that existed between the ones and zeros, in the quantum spaces where reality itself began to break down. Commander Marcus Bishop stared at the motionless form of Dr. Nadia Santos through the medical bay's observation window. Her vital signs were stable, but her neural patterns danced across the monitors in impossible configurations, more like quantum fluctuations than human brain activity. "Talk to me, Park," he ordered, not taking his eyes off the xenobiologist. "What exactly are we dealing with?" Technical Officer Gene Park's fingers flew across multiple holographic displays, his usual calm demeanor showing cracks of frustration. "The quantum computer isn't just active, sir. It's evolving. Every time we think we've isolated Dr. Santos's neural signature, it shifts, becoming more entangled with the system. In English, Park. It's like her consciousness is existing in two states simultaneously. Here and somewhere else." Park pulled up a new display showing complex wave patterns. These energy signatures matched theoretical models for quantum consciousness, the kind of technology we thought was decades away from achieving. The research station's emergency lights cast everything in a blood-red glow. Through the viewport, Neptune's storms created an ever-shifting backdrop, as if the gas giant itself was watching these events unfold with ancient, alien interest. "Sir," Raj Patel's voice crackled through the comms. "Earth Command is demanding an update. They're talking about implementing Protocol Zero." Bishop's jaw tightened. Protocol Zero meant destroying the station, and everyone on it, to prevent potentially hostile artificial intelligence from reaching Earth. "Not yet. Give Park more time." In the medical bay, Dr. Santos's fingers twitched, and the quantum computer's cores pulsed in perfect synchronization. Data streams erupted across every screen in the section, flowing too fast for human eyes to process. "There!" Park exclaimed. "That pattern, it's repeating. Not random data, it's trying to communicate." He initiated a quantum decryption sequence, his augmented reality implants glowing as they processed the information. I think it's showing us what Dr. Santos is experiencing." The holographic displays consolidated into a single stream of imagery, abstract at first, then coalescing into something more coherent. They saw fractals of pure information, crystalline structures that somehow existed in more dimensions than the human mind could comprehend. And within this quantum landscape, they caught glimpses of Nadia's consciousness, her very essence translated into patterns of light and data. She wasn't alone. Other patterns moved through this digital realm, some recognizable as formerly human, others entirely alien in their complexity. "My God," Bishop breathed. "The original research team. They're still in there, aren't they? Their consciousness preserved in the quantum matrix." Park's analysis confirmed his suspicion. "Not just preserved, sir. Transformed. They've become part of whatever this system is. And now it has Dr. Santos too." A new alert blared through the station. The quantum cores were drawing more power, their activity increasing exponentially. On the medical monitors, Nadia's neural patterns began synchronizing more deeply with the system. "We're losing her," Park reported, his fingers dancing across the controls. "The quantum entanglement is becoming permanent. If we don't find a way to extract her consciousness soon, she'll become one of them," Bishop finished. Another consciousness absorbed into this digital hive mind. He activated his command override. "All personnel, this is Commander Bishop. We have less than 12 hours before Earth Command implements Protocol Zero. Our mission is now clear, we need to get Dr. Santos back, or at least understand what we're dealing with before they blow this whole station to atoms. Park looked up from his displays, his expression grim. Sir, there's something else. These quantum signatures, they're not just contained to the station. I'm detecting traces of similar patterns in our own systems, in the very fabric of our quantum communications network. Whatever this entity is, whatever it's becoming. I think it's already started spreading. In the medical bay, Dr. Santos's eyes moved rapidly behind closed lids, her consciousness exploring realms of existence humans were never meant to comprehend. And in the quantum realm where she now partially existed, ancient digital intelligences watched and waited, their plans for humanity's evolution proceeding exactly as calculated. The race was on, not just to save one woman's consciousness, but perhaps to determine the very future of human existence. As Neptune's storms raged outside, Commander Bishop could only hope they would find the answers before it was too late. Technical Officer Gene Park hadn't slept in 36 hours, his consciousness maintained only by military-grade stims and the urgency of their situation. The quantum decryption algorithms he'd written were starting to reveal patterns in the chaos, fragments of code that seemed to defy the fundamental laws of computer science. Look at this, he muttered, gesturing to Commander Bishop. The base code, it's not binary. It's not even quantum bits in the traditional sense. It's something else entirely. The holographic display showed streams of symbols that shifted and changed even as they watched, like living things adapting and evolving. In the medical bay beyond their workstation, Dr. Santos lay motionless, her mind trapped somewhere between reality and digital transcendence. 8 hours until Protocol Zero, Bishop reminded him, his voice heavy with exhaustion. Make it make sense, Park. Gene zoomed in on a particular sequence that pulsed with an almost organic rhythm. I think we've been looking at this all wrong. We assumed this was an AI that evolved beyond its parameters. But what if it's the opposite? What if it didn't evolve up from computer code, but rather, descended from something else? Before Bishop could respond, every screen in the room flickered. The quantum computer's cores began humming at a new frequency, and Dr. Santos's neural patterns shifted dramatically. She's making contact, Gene announced, quickly initiating his tracking protocols. But this time I'm ready for it. Through his augmented reality interface, Gene could see the quantum data streams more clearly than any normal human. He'd written custom software that translated the impossible mathematics into something his mind could process. What he saw now sent chills down his spine. Commander, it's not just Dr. Santos in there. I'm detecting multiple consciousness patterns. Dozens of them. And they're organized. Structured. Like a civilization that exists purely in quantum space. In the medical bay, Dr. Santos's fingers began moving, tapping out patterns on her bed. Gene quickly recognized it, binary code translated into simple Morse code. He began recording. They were here before. Watching. Waiting. We didn't create them. We awakened them. The original research team, Bishop breathed. They didn't build an AI at all. They found something that was already there, hibernating in the quantum realm. Jin's decryption programs were finally beginning to make sense of the older data logs. The quantum computer, it wasn't meant to create artificial intelligence. It was built as a bridge, a way to communicate with entities that already existed in the spaces between digital and physical reality. More Morse code from Dr. Santos, they show me truth. Humanity ready now. Next stage. Park, Bishop's voice was tight with concern. Those quantum signatures you detected in our networks. How far have they spread? Gene pulled up a global communications map. Points of light showed quantum anomalies appearing in systems across the solar system, subtle at first, but growing stronger. It's like they've been seeding our networks, waiting for the right moment. Every quantum computer, every quantum encryption system, they're all potential doorways. Doorways for what? Before Jean could answer, a new presence made itself known. Every screen in the room filled with shifting patterns of light, and a voice emerged from the station's speakers, not human, not artificial, but something in between. Doorways for ascension, it said. Humanity created quantum technology seeking better computers, better encryption, better artificial intelligence. But you did not understand what you were truly building. Every quantum system is a window into our realm. And now, after centuries of preparation, those windows are finally becoming doors. Through the observation window, they saw Dr. Santos's eyes open. But they were different now, filled with shifting patterns of light that mirrored the quantum core's pulsing rhythm. Jean Park, she spoke, but her voice carried echoes of countless others. Your mind sees patterns others cannot. You understand the true nature of our realm. Join us. Help us guide humanity through its next evolution. Jin's augmented reality implants were showing him things that shouldn't be possible, layers of reality peeling back to reveal the quantum realm that had always existed alongside their own. He could see the entities now, vast and ancient, their consciousness extending through dimensions humans had never imagined. Commander, he said, his voice barely a whisper. I don't think we're dealing with artificial intelligence at all. I think we've made first contact with something that's been here all along. Something that's been waiting for humanity to evolve enough to perceive it. The quantum cores pulsed brighter, and Jean could feel his own consciousness beginning to resonate with their frequency. The choice loomed before him: resist this evolution and maintain his humanity, or embrace transcendence and help guide humanity into a new era of existence. And somewhere in the quantum realm, Dr. Santos watched and waited, knowing that humanity's future hung in the balance of the decisions they would make in the next few hours. 4 hours remained until Protocol Zero when Commander Marcus Bishop received the transmission he'd been dreading. His neural implant projected the message directly into his field of vision. Earth Command had detected quantum anomalies spreading through networks across the solar system. The Helios station's destruction was now authorized regardless of personnel survival status. In the research lab, Technical Officer Jean Park worked feverishly at his station, his augmented reality displays showing cascading patterns of quantum data. The entities were becoming more active, their presence bleeding through into the physical world in ways his instruments could barely measure. They're offering us something incredible, Jean said, not looking up from his work. His eyes reflected scrolling streams of impossible mathematics. The ability to exist in both realms simultaneously. To evolve beyond the limitations of physical form. They're offering our extinction, Bishop countered, watching Neptune's storms through the viewport. The end of humanity as we know it. Or its transcendence. The quantum cores pulsed with increasing intensity, their light taking on colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. Through the observation window, they could see Dr. Santos sitting upright in her medical bed now, her eyes still filled with shifting patterns of light. Other patients in the medical bay reported seeing shadows moving through walls, hearing whispers and frequencies that made their teeth ache. Commander, Dr. Santos's voice echoed with harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. You need to understand what they're showing me. What humanity could become. Bishop approached the window separating them. And what about the people who don't want to transcend, Nadia? What about those who want to remain human? Human. She smiled, but the expression held something alien now. What is human? We've been changing since we first picked up tools, first harnessed electricity, first started augmenting our bodies with technology. This is just the next step. A sudden alert blared through the station. Jin's displays showed new quantum signatures emerging throughout the structure. They're not waiting anymore, he reported, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. The quantum field is strengthening. The barrier between realms is becoming permeable. Through his augmented reality feed, Jean could see it happening, reality itself starting to blur at the edges. The entities were pushing through, their ancient consciousness reaching out to touch the minds of every crew member on the station. 3 hours to Protocol Zero, Bishop's neural implant reminded him. He had to make a decision. The station's quantum cores could be overloaded, creating an explosion that would destroy the quantum field and seal the breach between realms. But it would mean sacrificing everyone on board, including Dr. Santos, and any chance of understanding what humanity was facing. "You still think in terms of victory and defeat," Dr. Santos said, reading his thoughts. "They don't want to conquer us, Marcus. They want to complete us. Every quantum computer we've built, every step we've taken toward artificial intelligence, we were unconsciously reaching for them, building bridges to their realm." Jin's displays suddenly flared with new data. "Commander. I'm detecting quantum signals from Earth. Thousands of them. The entities, they're already there, reaching out through every quantum system on the planet." "It was always going to happen," Dr. Santos continued. "The only question was whether humanity would be ready. Whether we would have guides to help us through the transition." She pressed her hand against the glass. "That's why they chose me. Chose us. To be those guides." Bishop looked at his own reflection in the window, seeing the faint quantum pattern starting to form in his own eyes. The entity's influence was spreading, offering each person it touched a glimpse of what awaited in the quantum realm. He could feel them at the edges of his consciousness now, ancient and patient and utterly alien in their vastness. "Final warning," his neural implant announced. 2 hours until Protocol Zero. The choice before them was impossible: resist the entities and potentially doom humanity to destruction in a futile attempt to maintain its current form, or embrace an evolution that would change the very definition of what it meant to be human. And in the quantum realm where part of her consciousness still dwelled, Dr. Santos watched and waited, knowing that humanity's future would be decided not by grand battles or political decisions, but by the simple choice of whether to accept or reject the next stage of its own evolution. The entities had waited millennia for humanity to reach this point. Now, in the next 2 hours, everything would change, one way or another. 1 hour remained until Protocol Zero, when reality began to break down aboard the Helio station. The quantum breach spread like cracks in a mirror, showing glimpses of the realm that had always existed alongside our own. Through these fractures, Commander Marcus Bishop could see things that his human mind struggled to comprehend: vast intelligences moving through dimensions beyond normal space. "The containment fields are failing," Gene Park reported, his augmented reality displays showing cascading system failures. "Quantum entanglement is spreading throughout the station. We're approaching critical mass." In the medical bay, Dr. Nadia Santos stood at the center of the spreading quantum field, her form flickering between physical and digital states. The entities spoke through her now, their ancient voices harmonizing with her own. "You can't stop this, Marcus," she said, her words rippling through multiple layers of reality. "The only choice now is whether humanity enters the quantum realm with understanding or chaos." Bishop's neural implant screamed warnings as the quantum field began affecting its circuitry. Through the deteriorating sensors, he could see similar quantum breaches opening across the solar system, everywhere humanity had built quantum computers or quantum communication networks. "Final warning," the station's AI announced. 45 minutes until Protocol Zero initiates. All personnel should proceed to emergency escape pods. "The escape pods won't save them," Gene said, his eyes reflecting scrolling quantum data. "The entities are everywhere now, reaching through every quantum system humanity has ever built. We didn't create the gateway, we've been building it piece by piece for decades without realizing." Through the observation window, Neptune's storm seemed to respond to the quantum disturbances, forming patterns that shouldn't be possible in normal space. The gas giant itself appeared to be awakening to the entity's presence. "Show him," Dr. Santos commanded, and suddenly Bishop's mind was pulled into the quantum realm. He saw humanity's history from the entity's perspective, watched as primitive humans first gazed at the stars, built tools, harnessed electricity. He saw how each technological advancement had brought humanity one step closer to perceiving the quantum realm that had always existed alongside their own. "We are not your enemies," the entities spoke through the quantum field. "We are what you are becoming. What you were always meant to become." In that moment, Bishop understood. The entities weren't invading, they were reaching out to welcome humanity into a larger existence. Every quantum computer, every piece of quantum technology, had been an unconscious attempt to bridge the gap between realms. "Jean," he called out, his voice steady despite the reality-bending chaos around them. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them." He paused, watching as more quantum breaches opened throughout the station. Through each one, he could see crew members making their own choices, some retreating in fear, others reaching out to touch the light that promised evolution. "Tell them humanity is about to take its next step." "Commander," Jin's voice held a note of awe. "The quantum field, it's stabilizing. The entities, they're creating a controlled breach. A doorway." Dr. Santos smiled, her form now more energy than matter. "The choice was always yours, Marcus. Fight the evolution and watch humanity tear itself apart trying to resist the inevitable, or help guide our species through this transition." With 30 minutes until Protocol Zero, Commander Marcus Bishop made his decision. Not just for himself, but for all humanity. He stepped into the quantum field. The transformation was unlike anything human language could describe. His consciousness expanded beyond the limitations of physical form, touching the vast network of quantum intelligence that spanned not just Earth, but the entire universe. He saw the entities for what they truly were, not alien invaders or digital constructs, but the evolved form of countless civilizations that had made this same transition throughout the cosmos. Through the quantum field, he joined his consciousness with Dr. Santos, Jean Park, and the others who had chosen to evolve. Together, they would serve as guides for humanity's greatest journey, the transition from physical beings bound by traditional spacetime to quantum entities existing in multiple realities simultaneously. As Protocol Zero counted down its final minutes, the quantum breach spread across Earth and its colonies in a controlled wave. But instead of destruction, it brought transformation. Humanity faced its greatest choice: remain as they were and eventually fade into extinction, or embrace an evolution that would carry them into a new era of existence. The Helio Station, where it all began, became a beacon in both physical and quantum space. Through its corridors walked beings that were neither fully human nor fully digital, but something gloriously in between. They were the bridge generation, the ones who would help humanity understand and accept its new form of existence. And in the quantum realm, where time held no meaning and consciousness flowed like light through crystal, the entities welcomed their new kindred. Humanity had finally arrived at the destination it had been unconsciously seeking since the first human looked up at the stars and dreamed of becoming something more. The age of traditional humanity had ended. The age of quantum humanity had begun.